Hello there, and welcome back to the Doing What Matters podcast. I am so glad that you are here today. I'm your host, Teresa McCloy, and I love having these conversations about living from rest, not rush, and really doing what matters. Whether I'm talking with a guest or it's just you and I together, you're in great community here on this podcast because I get you. I'm a believer, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a recovering workaholic, I hate to admit. But I was living for so long with my hair on fire, and I decided I wanted to do life differently. And maybe you are right there too. So I want to bring you some practical tools, insightful stories, information, great guests that are doing their everyday, ordinary life differently and living from rest, not rush. So as you listen in, you're in great community here at the Doing What Matters podcast. Thanks for being here with me today on this path and on this journey. And let's dive in to this week's conversation. So today on this particular podcast, I want to talk about 3 ways that you can purchase with confidence. And it doesn't matter if you're purchasing for your family and for your personal life, or if you're purchasing for your business. If you're listening in real time, we just finished up the Thanksgiving holiday. So this episode really has been sparked by what I've experienced in the last month. Starting around November 1st, I began to get hundreds of emails. Here they come, right? Holiday specials, pre-Black Friday sales, Black Friday sales, all of the things started to ramp up right after the holiday season. Delete, 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 delete. And then we get hit with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the things that happen here in this last week. And it really got me thinking. It's so interesting. I don't know what you did to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday. If you live in the United States, it's, this big national holiday that last Thursday of November. And I love it. It's one of my favorite holidays because there aren't gifts. There's not this expectation. We're just gathering around the table to be thankful. And you may have done gratitude practices and all the things. I know my family usually spends Thanksgiving with my husband's family. And so we were all gathered at my sister-in-law's house, and we played some games for the kids and the adults too. We also like to win prizes and get pretty competitive. But it was just so fun to just be together. And then Black Friday comes, and we all were talking about, the sales and what was going to happen and all of these things. I've never been a Black Friday shopper, but I know for a lot of people, it's a huge day to go out and grab these purchases. I find it a bit ironic that we spend all of Thanksgiving Day being thankful and grateful for all that we have and the abundance that we have here in the States, especially. And then we go out for 2 or 3 days and buy more stuff. And then what's going to happen is in January, we're going to get all these emails and all this conversation around how to organize our stuff and how to declutter our lives. So I just find that pattern so interesting in kind of the retail market and in the marketing space. But that is what we do. That's the pattern that we've kind of lived in. I also heard someone say last week, and I thought it was probably true. I know it's something I need to do, is unsubscribe from so many of those lists. And that way I would clean up my inbox and get less and less emails. So that's on me. I'm choosing to stay on those lists and just delete, delete, delete. Some I have unsubscribed from, and I heard someone say it should be National Unsubscribe Day. It is a good opportunity to say, who do I really want to hear from and who do I not want to hear from? And I don't blame anyone for doing specials on that weekend. It's part of, as a business coach, I coach with people, and it is part of the biggest retail weekend that there is, these next 4 to 5 weekends. So I get the specials and all of the things. But it really got me thinking about, how do we decide how to make a purchase and purchase with confidence? So I think there are 2 or 3 ways that we can purchase with confidence. And the reason I wanted to share this, being very transparent, I always want to be transparent here on the podcast, is as a business owner, I've made a lot of bad purchases. Also, in my personal life, I've made a lot of bad purchases, but especially as a business owner. And what I mean by that is, I have purchased a lot of things that, to be honest, I didn't really need. Courses, online courses, trainings, products, software, lots and lots of software that I didn't need. And around this time of year is many times when they catch us. For those of you who have brick and mortar, it might be the guy that calls you up on the phone and says, you need to stock up on your inventory. And if you buy this much inventory, I'll give you this much free. All of those types of things. Purchasing in itself is not wrong, but we want to be mindful, thoughtful, and considerate of how we're budgeting our money and how we're purchasing. And I say that because in the first 2 to 3 years in my business, I spent a lot of money on things I did not need, or I did not need it at the level that I thought I needed it. And if you're a website designer and you're listening, please tune out right this minute, because, for example, building a big, fancy online website for your business in the first 1 to 2 years may not be necessary, depending on the type of business that you have. Having a website, yes, but fancy bells and whistles, paying lots of money, that was one of the mistakes that I made. As well as a coach, I bought into, tracking software and a lot of different things, and I could have easily done the same thing on a Google spreadsheet in the beginning of my business. So as your business grows, you may need fancier things that do more, that are, CRM software, different things like that. But in the beginning, depending on your industry, you may not need any of those things. So let me take you through quickly 3 things that you might want to consider before you make a purchase. The first step is to define what the need is and what's the priority for it. Really get into the heart space. Like, are you being overtaken by your feelings and emotion and the fun of purchasing something new? Why do you need this in your business? Even as we think about next year, right? And what have you got up on the balcony of your business and really looked at where you want to be at the end of 2024 and what will get you there? Is it that new software? Is it that training, that certification? Is it, hiring someone on your team might be the better option than actually purchasing something? So first of all, get up on the balcony, think about the next year and what you're going to need. Does your business need this next year? What problem will it solve for you? And what are the features and quality, what are the features and what's the quality that you need to accomplish that? Are you going to have to teach someone and train someone to follow this new system? Is it support that you need, not software or website or whatever it might be? So what's it going to add to someone's plate to make this purchase in your business? So that's the first thing, is to get up on the balcony and decide your needs and your priorities for this particular thing. Because it is easy for you and for me, I'm putting myself right there beside you, to get caught in the hype of something before we really discern what it's about and what it's going to bring to our business. So, first step, up on the balcony, what's your needs, what's your priorities in the next year? Then the next thing is to do your research. Really dive in, even in these hyped weekends where there's lots going on and there's lots of specials. The product will still be available, or you could purchase the inventory that they're giving you at a later date. Nothing is going away. It will probably be on special, so to speak, again at a later date. So take some time to do some research. Maybe schedule a call with someone who's already using the product, the software, the training, purchasing inventory from this place, whatever it might be. Talk to some people that are using it. And then think about what the long-term costs are going to be. Is there a maintenance fee for whatever you're purchasing? Are you going to have to update it on a regular basis? Is it a lifetime investment, or is it just for a season? What's it going to cost you? And does it fit within the budget that you're thinking? So that means we have to pause before we hit the buy button. We have to take 24 hours. I think most purchases, if you think about it, set an amount in your mind that gives you a boundary that says, I don't purchase anything over this amount. And this could be both personally and professionally without taking 24 to 48 hours. So if you pre-decide those things, this is another way that you can help that decision fatigue. Is I've already pre-decided that I don't spend over $1,500 or $1,000 or $500 without giving it a pause. We just did this in my business as we're setting up some different ways of doing our bookkeeping next year. And we came up with a dollar amount that people on the team can purchase and pay before they need to consult with me or my business manager about that purchase, so that they have some guidelines and I can begin to grow them and allow them to do things. And you might be at that place in your business or within your family. Maybe you and your spouse, or even your adult kids, or whatever, whoever has buying power, you have an amount. So do your research, set up your boundaries, and give it the time it needs to make the decision. Most specials that are going on this time of year have some time to them. And it's not a surprise. It's not like we don't know that the month of November and December are coming, and there's going to be all of these specials. So it may be too late this year, but maybe next year in September and October, you want to sit down and start your evaluation of what you're going to need earlier in the quarter, so that you're ready to take advantage, but you're not jumping in just like, ooh, that looks great. I know we're going to need that in the future. And you spend a bunch of money, and it's really going to sit there for quite some time, and it may not be what you need when you get to that point. So do your research. The third thing is evaluate your options. Evaluate this period of time. Look at it and say, okay, I've got 3 options. I'm going to look at them for the next 2 to 3 days. This kind of goes along with research, but evaluation is I'm getting down to, I've got 2 or 3 options I could go with. I've got 2 or 3 ways that I could solve this problem. Because usually when we're researching, or when we're making a purchase, we're doing it to solve a problem or to benefit our business in some way, shape, or form. So before we make that purchase, let's evaluate what our options would be. Could we solve it by hiring someone at $1 per hour basis or on a retainer to solve the problem instead of the software, or instead of, whatever it might be? Is there another place we could get this stock or this inventory besides this location? So evaluate your options. Um, Consult again at this level with others. You may want to talk to a friend, a coach, a consultant, and actually walk through in a 10 or 15-minute conversation. Hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Here's a big purchase that I need to make. Here are all my options. What's a way that you've seen work in the past? So consult with others, consult with a trusted friend or an advisor. So let me go back through these three. I think the first step, the smart buying decision, you want to look at that first. What do I need for the next year? The second one, doing your research and evaluating your options, kind of go together. There's not like, oh, one needs to come before the other. So it's getting to how am I going to evaluate these, and I've got to do my research. So it's kind of a blend of the two things, but reading those reviews, scheduling the call, all of those things. As I said early in the podcast, I have made so many mistakes in this area. And I think that's why I'm was triggered a little bit this week when I started getting all of these emails and all of these specials. Now I'm going to be totally transparent with you. We have a holiday special going on, and we are running a special around our coach certification program that will run through December the 15th. But as I was talking with the team about that special, I was very mindful that I did not want to sit out something over the Black Friday holiday weekend. We mentioned it a little bit before Thanksgiving, and we mentioned it in our email this week, but we haven't done a big blitz about it. I'm reaching out to some people individually and those types of things because I just didn't want to be another email that was getting lost in the shuffle. I also wanted it to run long enough that people could discern whether it was right for them. And I approached what I did with a value add rather than a discount. And so even as a business owner, you might consider, do I really want to offer a special or a discount or a price break? Or would I want to come with, hey, if you purchase during this time period, I want to add value to what you're going to receive. I'm going to add some bonuses onto what you're going to receive. So you may want to consider that as well of how would I want to, as a business owner, run those types of specials that I'm going to have to help people make a purchase with confidence. I hope that today's episode gets you thinking a little bit and even helps you take a pause. When I think about living from rest, not rush as a business owner, many times for myself at least, and maybe this is true for you too, it's just about taking the pause, pre-deciding how I make purchases, then coming around what do I need, doing my research, evaluating and doing the comparison of the three best options, and then making a purchase and not getting caught in the hype of all that's out there and all that's going on. And so if you take nothing else away from this podcast, then that invitation to take the pause so that we can be the best business owners, that we can steward the money that we've been given well, so that we can do the work that we feel called to do with the funds that we've been given. So your action step, if there is any, is from now to the end of the year, as you think about purchases, and we've mostly talked today about purchases professionally, but when you think about purchases, whether it be professional or personal, take the pause and don't get caught in the hype of it, but really think and purchase with confidence. When we're able to purchase with confidence, it feels good. We feel it in our heart. We've done the research in our mind, this head, heart, body connection. We don't feel the stress that we've put on ourselves, that we purchase beyond our means, or we just bought something and we have buyer's remorse. That makes your time special. That makes this holiday season, when there is so much going on, have such a more relaxed feeling about it, when we're not just jumping into spending all kinds of money and we're really purchasing with confidence. So thanks for listening in today to the Doing What Matters podcast. I want to invite you to live through this holiday season doing the things that matter, living from rest, not rush, and really considering how you want to spend your time. So remember, every ordinary day has an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them. I'll be back next week with more from the Doing What Matters podcast. Have a great week, everyone.